Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Martini Mondays with A.C.E. I am your host, Alexandra, and I'm so excited to be back on U.S. soil. I've been traveling a little all over the place, and now I get to get back into the podcast studio, and I'm really excited because I have two really awesome guests that have been in the wedding industry for a long time. They are veteran professionals and they are going to give us their insight on one of the things that you need to book first, photography. But Denise, thankfully, is with us today because we've missed her too, and she's going to introduce them. They've been long friends, and so Denise, I'm going to let you take it away.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank both you, Chris and Dennis, for joining us. I'm coming to you live from Trinkets Jewelry Store in Cape May, New Jersey. So we can't all be in the same place, but we can do this, and that's perfect. Chris and Dennis and I worked together for over 12 years, and the friendship has built from there. And I so appreciated their professionalism and what they brought to Chicago Style Weddings magazine with editorial and all of the wonderful weddings that they brought to us that we published as real weddings. So guys, when you're looking for a photographer, guys and gals, couples, as you're looking for a photographer, look at one of these guys first. Take it away.
Wait, before we introduce you guys, you tell us each a little snippet about your business. I do want to mention, of course, it's Martini Mondays. I normally like to have a martini in hand. I didn't want to force anybody to drink alone because that, could be a little taboo. So, but if we were to all be together, what martini would you order? Denise, I'm going to start with you.
I would order an espresso martini.
Love it. Chris?
I'm a father. I don't mind drinking alone. And mine would be dirty.
Great. That's a guy after my own heart. I'm a dirty martini girl. Extra dirty blue cheese olives.
That's right. I'll take the blue
Dennis,
cheese
what
too.
about you?
Yeah.
For me, it's just straight vodka in a martini glass. I think vodka is like what a man should be: strong, straightforward, clean, mixes well with others. That's my line.
Mixes well with others. Yes. Okay, are we adding a twist or it's just or olives or it's just the vodka?
Just the vodka.
I like your style.
Sounds perfect.
Dennis, do you want to tell us a little quick background and about your business and how long you've been in the business, if you want to give us that number and whatever you want to tell us?
Sure, yeah. I mean, how I got into photography is very not typical. I used to be in technology. I was working so hard, I wasn't taking any vacation times that my boss actually kicked me out of the office and told me to take some time off. So I went to North Africa and Spain. I have family in Spain, and I took a camera with me. And I came back with like 10 rolls of film, thinking that, hey, I was on the Rock of Gibraltar. These are going to be amazing photos. I saw the Casbah. I saw Madrid. And they were the worst photos ever. The worst vacation photos that you can ever take. But I was like, wait, but I was there. Why weren't these photos great? And I realized that there was just a next level of photography that I didn't even know about. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. So that next week, I went out and bought a Canon camera just because Canon was on sale. And the Canon guys hate when I say that because they want me to say that like Canon is better or whatever. But Canon just happened to be on sale that week, and I started taking photos and started seeing the world differently and really fell in love with photography. And coming from a very technical, regimented career, exercising creativity was opening up a whole new world for me.
Absolutely.
And so I gave myself 4 years to become a professional photographer. I figure I went to 4 years for college. I got a job. I'm going to study photography for 4 years and I'm going to become a photographer.
That's smart.
Yeah. And so for the next 4 years, all I did was immerse myself in photography and went to workshops and met photographers and was learning from photographers. And I remember one day I was having dinner, and in dinner was three Pulitzer Prize winning photographers, the former White House staff photographer, and then there was like
Wow.
me. It's like talk about who didn't
That's
belong,
cool.
right? But
You graduated.
yeah, I
You made
graduated,
it.
and they were talking to me like peers and critiquing my photography. And I've just been very, very lucky that people have helped me and bring me up in photography through just their generosity and love of photography. And it made a huge impact on me.
That's an awesome, awesome story. And I love that you found your passion, because there's a lot of people that just work to work and make money, and that's, how they continue the rest of their lives. And for you to see that, you almost have to thank your boss for saying, get out of here, go on vacation.
Yeah.
Because you could have still been in tech.
Yes.
God help
Chris,
us all.
give us a little background story, Chris.
Mine's maybe just about as interesting. I don't know. Probably not. I just was in college. I didn't even start taking pictures till I was in college. I used to draw all the time, and so I would take a photo and use it to draw pictures. And when I got to college, the little newspaper and the little yearbook needed some help, and my brother was running it. So he said, "Hey, I need you to come take some photographs for me." And so I just started taking photographs for that a little bit, and then the Associated Press. I was in school in Arkansas, so it's not like there was a lot of opportunity. I mean, there was not very many people. So the Associated Press asked if I wanted to start shooting some sports for them down there because there was two colleges in the town I was in. So I started doing that, and that morphed into more and more political stuff. And I went up to work at the state newspaper that summer as an intern, taking pictures. My whole background, as you can probably start to surmise, is in journalism. And so that kind of just went along with covering Bill Clinton's last governor's race. And then that morphed into
Well,
covering Bill Clinton's first presidential race, which morphed into George W. Bush's presidential race, which morphed into John Kerry's presidential race, which morphed into all kinds of fun, different things. And so I just kept doing that and kept doing that. But I started when I moved to Chicago. Well, I went and got my master's degree and then moved to Chicago, and I decided that I needed to not be gone quite so much if I was going to have a family. So I started to slow down a little bit, and that's kind of when I started getting into more weddings. And so since about 99, I've been shooting weddings in Chicago fairly recently, until recently, which I've slowed down a little bit. I mean, I haven't stopped, but I've definitely slowed down a little bit. So in between there, lots of rides on airplanes, lots of rides to
Yeah.
most states, lots of rides with seemingly important people, and lots of rides with pretty slimy people.
We won't make you say who.
but you both took the experience you were doing and put it into weddings.
Absolutely,
Yes.
I brought my
Yes.
documentary feel to weddings. That was very, very important. One of the things I wrote down is I like to consider myself a fine art documentary photographer, which kind of in short means that I definitely do it in a documentary way, but I allow myself to address the situation if it needs to be fixed or changed, or I can have a stylist make somebody look beautiful, or I can say, can we do that again? So that's the part that gives me that little extra little edge to be able to make each of the documentary areas better for the client, for the bride,
Yeah.
for
And
the groom.
this documentary style is very important. What are other styles?
I consider myself a photojournalist. All my training and everything has been from people who are war photographers. I mean, you would never think of war photographer teaching you wedding photography, but what war photographers and presidential photographers are people who really don't get involved and understand the pivotal moment, and they're looking for those quiet telling moments that capture like universal emotion, and that like drove me.
Well, that's
I think that's great.
Well, that's exactly
Sorry,
what
go.
I'm talking about. Is that idea of what I try to do in the photography that I do for weddings is make it a cherished event, make it a cherished photograph, make it something that's lasting, making it something that's timeless, making it something that when you look back on in 20 years, you still say, "Oh my God, that's such a nice picture. I have such a nice remembrance of that time."
Yeah, and I always say this about my brides because I start with them from the very beginning with their dress, which is one of the most emotional moments because this is a dress that they will be wearing to one of the most important days of their lives. And a lot of people will say, well, I can't believe you sell that price range or anything like that. It's just one day. And it's not, yeah, they might be wearing it for one day, but you're capturing their emotions, their moments, their experience, the life that they're starting, a whole new forget chapter, a whole new book of their life. You guys are documenting it that they have from then on. And if they're not feeling their best and they're not in their best dress and you're not capturing the best and they're looking back at it, then what's the point?
I mean, you bring up a really great, interesting point, like about the wedding dress. I mean, the wedding dress is important. It's beautiful. It's lovely. But sometimes I think the client forgets that that wedding dress is a historical record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's what
yeah,
their kids will see, their grandkids will see.
yeah.
You
It's an
know,
heirloom.
I mean,
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
look at photos from the 40s and 50s of my family, and I'm just like, and I love it because all of what they're doing gives a sense of time, like what they're wearing, how they're standing, the house that's
You're so
behind them.
right.
You're
Yeah.
creating a
Yes.
historic,
The
you're
poofy
truly
shoulders
creating
from
a family.
30
The
years ago.
poofy shoulders. You're
Yeah.
really,
Is it only 30 years?
you're really creating
Only
a moment in
30.
history, and that's something that's forgotten.
No, it is. You're absolutely right, and that's it's so true that you say that because I went to school for fashion, and one of my classes was fashion through the ages and history, and what was in style. And right now, this whole different waistline is in that was very reminiscent of the turn of the century, and that's back all these years later. So it's not it's very what you're saying is really I mean I believe it and I hope that brides really listen to this because that just has a whole different meaning on the dress that they should understand too.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned things coming back and coming full circle. I mean, when Chris and I first started shooting, we were shooting on film cameras, and
Yeah.
we would drop off like 30 rolls of film cameras on a Monday, pick them up on Thursday, and start stuffing albums. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
people shooting weddings couldn't even imagine that.
No.
Then we moved to the digital age, and we started shooting more and more digital. And I remember having to convince clients that digital was as good as film, and digital became better than film. And now here we are in this era where so many youngsters, they're like, well, I want a combination of digital and film. It's almost like they're rediscovering vinyl. They want this
Yeah.
film to come back, and
Yes.
I'm just like, the digital is better. You can get the same look if you know what you're doing. You can get the same film look out of digital, but more consistently. It just blows my mind. They just love that like retro feel. It's kind of like getting back into history.
Yeah, I had a bridesmaid on Saturday that had a Polaroid camera with her, and she was just taking Polaroids. But like, what blew my mind is she was taking the Polaroids, and then she laid the Polaroids out, and then took a digital picture of the Polaroids, and then posted that to social media. And I was like, "Girl, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it's cool. It kind of showed
Right.
like but so talking about brides and Denise, are you good on time? I wanna.
I thank you for letting me exit. You guys
Okay.
continue this great conversation. I can't wait to see it all, and appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dennis.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much for jumping on. I know you've had a busy day today, so to take your time out and be with us for a few minutes really means a lot. So thank you.
Bye,
Here.
Denise.
Bye.
Bye, Denise.
So I want to jump into some information that we can give couples, brides, grooms, because ultimately, Martini Mondays, as much as I love to kind of veer, because that's where the fun conversation comes in, I do try to be informative. So my mom and I started this podcast, and one of our first chats was the timeline of what you should book. And my mom used to be a wedding planner. So we went through, it's the very first thing after you get engaged, what you should do. And one of the top 5 we said is definitely booking photography, because it's clearly, like we just stated, such an important moment. And if you want a certain photographer, people are still booking out like about a year out or so, right? Like what are you saying? Like, what do you think that brides and grooms should be like their long-term goals and short-term when finding and looking for a photographer?
Well,
And either one of you guys, go for it.
that's a really tough question. From the short term, a lot of it is driven by availability. It just is. It's just the market. We live in a huge city. Getting a great photographer isn't easy. Sorting through all those photographers isn't always easy. I think in the long term, what helps that process is not looking at wedding photography. It's actually looking at art and looking at other photography, fashion photography, art, fine art, and seeing the things that resonate with you. Because once you understand what you love about art and what you love about photography, it's so much easier than to find the wedding photographer who fits those kind of like thoughts that you've already built in your head. Otherwise, you're just inundated with Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok over and over, and every wedding looks beautiful. I mean, I could train a monkey,
especially on Pinterest.
Yeah, I could train a monkey to take 10, 15 good photos on a wedding. That's the easy.
That should be another podcast. Let's do that, guys.
I mean, AI can do that. It's really finding what is the core of your photography. What's going to last when the novelty has fallen off. When you get that photo of you dipping in front of the
ceremony
Wrigley
or the
building or something like that, 20 other brides will have had that exact same photo. Is that really meaningful to you then?
I know, like, I'm kind of sick of seeing, and I'm sorry if you guys have done this recently, but maybe it's what the brides want, downtown in the Loop in front of the clock down by the stocks, right there on Adams with the clock tower and everything.
Right.
It's like, I've seen that 100 times. So I love that. I love, find what you love about art and then bring that into what you're asking for in photography.
Right.
Yeah. And then you get to talking to the different photographers when you get a chance to speak to them, and then you can talk more intelligently about what you're looking for and what you're not. And then you don't feel that a lot of photographers there's a lot of pressure to book them straight away. And you can see like, you're not a good mix with what I'm thinking about what I want if you have this kind of knowledge in mind. And so you can push them away instead of saying, oh my God, if I don't sign right now, my life is going to be over. That's the other thing that is really scary for brides, I think. And it's the whole idea that they're trying to get everything booked, and then a photographer or a different vendor will come in and say, well, if you don't sign right now, you can just forget it, or they have this booking system where they make sure that that you get signed straight away, and and so you don't even get a chance to get through the door hardly, and they're already trying to get you to sign on the line, and that's always frustrating and hard. And I always suggest you walk away from that photographer and say, if you want my business, you're going to have to give me some time to think about what I want and what I need.
It's for the clients. If you think about the clients, it is the first time in their life that they're making such a big investment on photography. Never in their lives have they made such a big investment.
Or maybe never again, too.
Yeah, and they never again will. And so, so here's my cat.
Oh, hi, cat. What's your cat's name?
Eleanor. Understand. So the wedding photographer should do a service to the wedding client and say, look, this is where we stand currently. Nobody is looking at your wedding date, or one person is looking at your wedding date, and I spoke with them yesterday. So we've got so we might have a little bit of time. Don't rush or force your wedding clients into photography by saying, oh, if you don't book me now, you're never going to find another wedding photographer. I mean, just
Yeah. You're
that's
saying be very transparent with
yeah.
them, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Because again, I know this might be like a little underlying theme running through our podcast, but it is a very emotional day,
Mm-hmm.
and you are with that bride and groom from early in the morning to very late at night. And if you don't, I've seen that if you don't have that good connection with the bride and the groom and you, it could be a really kind of dismal, like rough day. Like I feel like you want to know them. You get on a more of an emotional
I think that's
basis, and then
super important.
long term,
If you're not clicking with
yeah,
your
if you're not
photographer,
clicking,
you're
what
not going to
pictures are
have
you taking?
it's going to be a miserable day, because we literally are with you most of
Absolutely.
the day.
You're there, you're next to them the whole day. They're together, and then there's you.
Yeah.
And now that people are hiring stylists that we could talk about in a little bit, it's me too. So
Yeah.
it's you, me, and the bride and groom. And yes, the wedding is the most important, but they're starting a whole new life of anniversaries, babies. Everybody now needs to send the most amazing holiday card, right? So you make that connection with them and you make their day that much more special. They're calling you for every single thing down the line when it comes to documenting something important to them, is what I would think.
Well, they
I
really
mean,
do, and if they're not, you did something wrong.
You
If
know,
they're not,
Alexandra.
you did not service them, do them a good service in their wedding day.
yeah,
You
Absolutely.
know,
yeah,
Alexandra, you really bring up an interesting point about connection, because you are, as a photographer, unless you're some guy just checking it in and shooting the checklist and taking the clients to the same place every week. But if you're somebody who really cares and you're really trying to connect with the clients, that connection matters. And this may be super controversial and you may, get it out of the Instagram, but I don't shoot Republican weddings. I refuse to shoot Republican weddings because I can't stand in a location and have Republicans drinking and enjoying the food that were prepared by immigrants, right? By immigrants, and then say that they have no place in our society.
well, I think that everybody, I think that again is your connection with the bride and groom. Because if you're not connected and you don't like the person's values, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions and values, and I'll be honest, I try not to get super political on here, but I will say that that comes down to not putting out your best work, and ultimately you want to put out your best
Absolutely.
work. And if it means needing to make that decision with people, then it means making that decision, and that's your prerogative, which is what I think.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
absolutely.
This is where we would all take our
Oh, here we
martinis
go.
if we had
Sip
them.
and right. I should
Yeah.
have. I should have poured a drink. I should have poured a
Where's
drink.
Eleanor?
Send the cat away to get you
All
drink.
right, guys. Huh?
Set the cat.
What would your cat drink? Would she sip on your vodka?
The cat. No, she doesn't like to drink.
Oh no, she doesn't like to drink. She's more of a gummies kind of cat.
All right.
I'm more of a gummies kind of cat.
Speaking of, other personalities and you doing your job correctly, how is it when you manage the timeline? I mean, I know the timeline can be thrown off. Unfortunately, I had this situation. I mean, I got married 10 years ago, but I had a hair issue. So everything was pushed back. And I know my photographer wanted to get in certain pictures and we weren't able to. So some things you can't plan for. Everybody's human. It's, it is what it is.
Oh, you can plan for
But
it.
ultimately, how do you manage your timeline with everybody?
You definitely plan for it. You have the 3, 5, 8 best places that you want to go, knowing that stuff's has potential to fall off. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, you as a photographer, if you're not planning for at least 3 or 5, and knowing that 1 or 2 of them aren't going to work out for whatever reason, whether it's your hair malfunction like you had, or whether it's a weather situation or a flat tire, or mom doesn't show up on time, or something's going to happen. And so there is definitely you wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't have some kind of a
Safety net.
contingency for those kinds of things. And yeah, you got to make sure
Yeah.
that, like I know, and I know Dennis does this too, because we've talked about it before, is you talk with your bride about what's the most important. These are the places that we'd like to go. These are the things that we would like to do. We just need to know the hierarchy of how you think they are important. And so then
Right.
we know that those are the ones that we have to go to. That's where we have
Right.
to show up.
And the people that are most important to them, besides, you know, within their bridal party and the groups that you have to get your shot list, basically.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you go to the place that means the most to the wedding clients, not just the marquee in front of the Wrigley building, showing the
Right.
showing the buildings behind. I mean, you go there on any Sunday and there's 5 or 6 weddings there waiting to get that shot. You know,
My gosh, or like waiting in line.
right,
It's like,
like
well,
another marquee
be different.
location. Yeah, and another
Be
marquee
different.
location is the South Gardens of the Art Institute. You go there on any Sunday and there's 6, 7 weddings going around shooting those things.
Talk about pushing back the timeline. You're
Right.
not planning for all those
You're
other
not
people to
planning
be
for
there.
all those weddings, and you're taking up time that you're not shooting. Instead, find the places
Yeah.
that show the new architecture of Chicago, the St. Regis building, looking at it
Yeah.
from different angles. So not only do those photos look beautiful, but they also have a span of time in Chicago history, you know, which adds to that kind of historical record to your family. And as a
Yep.
photographer, we are always making adjustments to our wedding day. Oh, hair goes a little bit long? Great. That cuts out 15 minutes of our timeline of shooting.
Right.
What should we do next? Oh,
Right.
the limo didn't show up till 5 minutes later? Oh, that takes another 5 minutes. And little by little, these 5 minutes, 10 minutes take 30, 40 minutes out of your wedding
Or
shooting.
don't forget my favorite one, that the driver of the limousine only can do what the GPS says and can't like go different ways to make sure that we get to the place on time.
And like,
Right.
you know, I use my GPS regularly because if someone tells me you got to go north, I'm like, wait, what? Can you tell me if there's a McDonald's on the corner? Like, but I don't drive for my profession, right? Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. These are supposed to be professional
my
drivers.
profession.
Right.
No, you're a professional driver. Like, shouldn't you know where to go?
Right.
Shouldn't you know that if you book it down, you know, a side street and come around, you're going to have more of, you know, enough time to get there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a podcast with a
Trolley
transportation company.
Yeah.
You know, but
Mhm.
whether a wedding photographer has 30 minutes or whether they have an hour and a half, the goal is to produce. Regardless of time, the goal is to produce beautiful photos. They may not get as many beautiful photos, but those photos should be just as good whether I shot 30 minutes or whether I shot an hour and a half. The only difference is in the number.
And the stress
Right.
level
Locations.
and the stress level on the photographer.
And the stress level on the photographer.
Well, sometimes I feel like, you know, a lot of the stress comes from, for you guys too, is the bride stress, is the planner. You know, it's a culmination of everybody involved. So hopefully everyone just kind of, you know, takes a breath and we get the best shots that we can.
Right.
Oh, when you have good
All
planners
right, I am gonna.
and the two of you are
What?
working together, if you have good planners and the two of you are working together, that makes the day hugely better. Hugely better.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody, you know, as long as everybody's transparent, on the same page, you start telling everybody what you want early on, and communication.
Mhm.
I
Right.
think that ultimately, you know, you're gonna get through the day the best you can. Again, hiccups happen. It is what it is. But as long as everything for the most part is running smoothly, you're gonna get what you asked for
You know,
or what you paid for.
I am somebody who will put in the amount of hours or ask for the amount of time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, based on the schedule of the day where I would need to take photos. Beyond that, I do not dictate the day. I do not dictate, oh, I need extra time to take their photos in the reception room. I need extra time for this or extra time for that.
Right.
Like, no, give me the 30, 45 minutes, hour and a half, whatever the schedule allows to take photos of the bride and groom, and also give them a chance to kind of step away from all the wedding action and enjoy kind of
Yeah.
the afternoon.
Yeah.
Once I have that, then anything else I can just work around.
Right. You make it work.
You know,
And,
20
and that's why you're the professionals, because you find the moment, you capture the moment.
After
And
25 years, I've learned that the wedding isn't about me to dictate my creativity. My responsibility is to capture their moments and not enforce my idealistic, views on your wedding and use your wedding as a tool to my artistic creativity. I mean, that's not how it goes.
right. You're not like, I need to capture this picture of you behind this because I want to enter it into a contest
Exactly.
or whatever. When you get that picture, just coincidentally, that's when you take it and you do what you need to do with it professionally. We've touched on this a little bit with me being a stylist, but clearly we're getting a whole new generation of couples coming into the mix that, what is it, Gen X, they're, mid to late 20s.
What is it,
and
Gen Z?
No, Gen Alpha.
Gen Z.
Is
Not
it Gen
X.
Z
I'm
now?
a Gen Xer.
What is it?
We're Gen X, so I'm
What am
Gen
I?
X. So is it Gen Z?
You are?
Yeah.
I'm a millennial. See,
A
I don't even
millennial
know.
or Gen Z is now getting married, aren't they?
Millennials are way
I think
past
are-
getting.
well,
I mean, they're
millennials
yeah,
are
the older, they're
yeah,
older
I don't know.
brides.
The what?
The millennials are older brides now.
Right.
They are, yeah.
So,
They're like
so we got
early
Gen Z
30s,
and younger
40s.
millennials, right?
So like that younger group is dictating a lot of things that could be helpful, could be annoying. One of the things is they are, and this is why I got into the business, is they want a stylist by their side. They want someone there, not just zipping them up as a wedding dresser. They want their stylist there to make sure that their dress is fluffed, that their hair continues to stay in the right place, that someone to grab their, their deodorant if they need it, or extra lip gloss. Like they want to be picture perfect and ready at any moment. How, and clearly say how you feel, because I do not easily get offended. Does that help you at all? Is it more annoying? Like this new trend, you guys have pretty much seen it all. How does this fit into your profession?
Everything has good balance. Everything has to have balance, right? You can't have a wedding stylist where like you're trying to take a picture and it's like, oh, the smallest wrinkle on her dress, we've got to move, or oh, there's the tiniest hair. Sometimes the best photos aren't like these perfectly posed 1980 photos. Remember in the 1980s, they would take photos and everything would be laid out and like bouquets would be laid out onto the dress. I wonder if anybody listening to the podcast would even remember those eras, right?
Yeah,
but like
I think they might
eras,
be bringing that back a little bit, which I don't know if I'm a fan, but I did see it recently. Anyways, go on.
But we see sometimes much greater photos by just having some spontaneity, and that movement of the dress that shows the beauty of the dress. A little bit of wrinkle, a little bit of movement of the dress can show the beauty of the dress better than it being laid out beautifully, seeing how active they are in the dress. I mean, you look at ads for wedding dresses, wedding makeup, wedding hair, wedding stylists, Tiffany ads, and they're not perfect. Those shots are not perfect. They're brides running in the grass. They're brides walking out of churches, and little bits of confetti are blocking their faces and their dresses. I mean, those are not what we would consider perfect photos, but they are great moments, and but that's the thing that should be focused on.
Yeah, much to Dennis's thing about it being a collective, it's in my opinion, having a good stylist is a good thing, because they're not a person that's going to be in the moment at all when the moment is happening. They're going to be in the moment, like, hey, we're getting ready. Let's say we're getting ready to cut the cake. You're like, okay, I'm going to make sure that you look good for cutting the cake, and you might walk over there with them and position their dress,
right,
and making sure that everything. And then you're kind of out of the way, and so a lot of times when they're working with me, they're standing right beside me, kind of seeing what I'm seeing, and then they might say, hey, can I just jump in there? I want to move her her
Yep.
necklace or
Yep.
something, or they won't, or they'll just let it go. But it's that idea of
Totally.
having it's for me, it's kind of cool because the way that Dennis and I both work in that documentary style, it's just part of the day. It's another thing that's going on during the day. So it's just a thing.
Right.
And then for you to have them looking pretty all the time is that kind of, to me, a little bit of a bonus. But again, it's one of those things where you can't overdo it.
No.
The stylist can't overdo it. A good stylist won't overdo it. But it's that idea of saying, hey, I need to get in there for a second, or hey, we've got, so it becomes a team as opposed to any kind of war, in a sense, of a fighting or any kind of a thing. You definitely, I mean, your goals align. You want her to look beautiful. I definitely want her to look beautiful. And it works out great. It's when you start to get in the way and slow the thing down that it can become somewhat troublesome, although that doesn't has not particularly happened in my life. So
I mean, when I shoot,
annoyance.
When I shoot commercial fashion or anything else, it's like a small army. You got digital techs there, lighting techs, hair, makeup, set design. It's like a small army, trying to get 2 photos for an advertisement, and everybody's jumping in at they're at what they think is their perfect moment to make this thing happen.
Probably another reason why we're used to it, because that happens to us all the time.
Because it happens to us all the time, right?
Yeah,
and you just got to be patient and say, okay, great, let this stuff happen. This is my time. This isn't my time yet. It'll be my time soon, and you kind of wait. And when things are ready, it's like, awesome, let's do it. And then you shoot for like 10 seconds, and it's and it's gorgeous.
And something else. Yeah, I mean, I don't jump in unless the photographer asks me. I've worked with a photographer a few times that has become a friend, and she knows now. She'll be like, Alex, I need you to fix that dress quick. And for her, she really likes it because it helps her pictures go faster. She's not stopping and moving them or whatever. She knows, she trusts me and knows to say, okay, fix the veil. That hair is weird, which I'm happy to do. That's what I'm there for. Or if I see something, but it's not that big of a deal, no way am I jumping into your shot or making you stop because I'm like, her hair is moved weird. Like you said, that's a natural thing.
That is the thing I didn't think about. Is it really does take away the amount of time that I have to interact physically with the bride to move a dress or to fix a hair, or like when I have a stylist available, it's great because I'm like, you just fixed it. Like, there's a hair in the way. Oh wait, so you just took care of that because
and you're not
generally
moving,
standing right there with me, and you're kind of seeing what I'm seeing. And you'll go in there and take care of it before, or I'll just go, hey, that little hair, what do you think about that? And you'll go, no, I want it like that. And okay, that's fine. And then we'll do it.
Right. And it's just a little small conversation. The bride never knows that we even had it. And, probably ends up being one of her favorite pictures.
Yeah.
All right. Another really
I like the help
thing.
For the record. That would be my conclusion on the thing.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, you know what? Whatever future brides you have booked, just tell them they have to call me, okay?
I will. I already have your number.
Awesome. There you go. You guys, content creators, yay or nay? Is it the same kind of deal? Everybody, we talk about the long term that it's important to have these photos for long periods of time, to have your album, to have, something that you could show your kids, your grandkids, the history behind the era of when you got married and everything. Yet in the same breath, there's a generation that wants everything immediately. They want it immediate. They want to put it on social media. They want to show up their friend that got married the weekend before them and, that they have a better wedding and dress and all that. So they have now what we call content creators.
Sure.
Quick.
How are they going to feel about it in 5 years or 10 years? Do we even know that yet? Because of my job is to make the forever. My job is so you can go back and look at your wedding 10 years from now and relive the magic. That's what I think that my job is. I am a documentary photographer. I want to show who you are and what you did that day and how beautiful that day was.
Right.
I don't know what I know what they're doing. I know what they want to do. They want to Instagram it all day and all night. And I think there's probably some value in it, but it seems to me just like, and I'm not trying to degrade it, although it will definitely sound like I am. It just sounds like they're a cheaper videographer. They're just a cheap videographer of snippets of clips for the day, and they, and it's just going to be who's more important to the bride, me or them.
I look at content creators, and we purchase all different things for all different reasons, right? I think content creators, what they're purchasing isn't high quality. They're purchasing immediacy. They want that speed. They want to be able to show it.
Right.
Hey, I matter. I'm an influencer. I think they want to show that
I'm gonna have a
that it happened.
martini on that one.
And it's funny because I wonder, like, okay, this is social media now. When the next version of social media comes out, will they transfer that into that new social media?
Yeah.
And then as the new social media comes out, will they transfer that into their social media? And 60 years later, they're showing like little snippets that seem really dated.
And to his point, I've been doing almost exactly the same thing for 35 years. My job is to create a timeless set of heirloom quality photographs that you will cherish. Now, do they change a little in style and how, with trends? Sure, of course, but I'm doing the exact same thing.
Equipment.
So what are they doing in terms of that? Like he just said, it feels like a temporary thing, feels like a temporary thing, feels like a temporary thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm also not, 20 years old. So there's that portion of the program.
No, but listen, I was 20 years old when Facebook first came out, and I was a freshman in college, or I was 18, whatever it was at the time, and it was only college kids allowed on Facebook, and that was the beginning of social media, and you weren't even allowed, you were able to post pictures, but it evolved to like then photo albums, right? If I went back now, 20 years later, to look at these photo albums that we couldn't wait to upload our pictures from our digital cameras, that to what Instagram is now, to whatever it's like, is totally different. So if there was someone that got married at that time and did their Facebook photo album off of pictures taken on a digital camera, it's going to look totally different than the content creator. So it just really shows that, yes, if you want to have whatever the trend is at your wedding, because that's what your generation or that's what the world is most important right now, but know that ultimately, you have to and should always have a photographer, because that's going to be the long haul. That's going to be the long term. That's what's going to give you everything 20, 30, 40, 50 years, from your wedding date, not necessarily what you're posting on TikTok.
I see a lot of content creators talk about, we shoot candid moments. We shoot.
So do you.
I'm like, well, every good photographer does that. That shows you those perfect moments that you're reading the thing.
Yeah, so do you. And
so,
I'm not knocking. Like, I think it's a cool.
I'm not knocking it.
I see a place for it.
If you love the immediacy, if you love to show people off, if that's a part of kind of your identity and kind of what makes you feel good and connected to the world, by all means do it. By all means do it. It's just I just wonder what happens in 20 years when there's like 3 new iterations of social media.
I think that we're all just
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of arguing it's fine, it's great. There's not really a whole lot wrong with it, other than it makes sure that you still longevity. Have a more traditional media there, so that you definitely have the types of photographs that you're going to want in 5 years or 10 years. I mean, that's where your disappointment's going to come in if you're not careful. You just need to know what's happening. And then the other thing is I really think it's a fight for attention. I mean, you've really got to kind of talk it out with your bride and your groom about kind of who's first, who's going to be the one walking in front of you down the aisle, who's going to be the one that's got the picture down the aisle. Is there going to be a guy walking with an iPhone on a stabilizer in front of me? Is there going to be, when you're cutting the cake, is there going to be a drone floating around? I mean, I don't know what, you just want to know where those where that importance comes in with your client. And if it is them, that's fine. I'm just not going to be able to do my job as strongly as I would have been able to do the first time. I'll try like hell.
If you let me be number one,
super hard to get the best that I possibly can. But if I start to set something up, or I start to talk to about a pose or whatever, and the content creator steps in my way and takes over, then I've lost, and I'm not going to create a conflict on your wedding day by any stretch of the imagination. I'm way too seasoned to do that, and so it's going to be problematic for me later, and I don't want that. You don't want that. So
no one wants that.
I think that's a little bit of the choice. I don't think it has to be adversarial. I don't mean it to be that way. I think that we could work together, a content creator and a photographer and a videographer. But my gosh, also, how many pieces of camera do you want shining on you?
That's it. How much documenting do you
I feel
actually want of I mean, like, it's a special day, don't get me wrong, but you're not, come on now. No, you're not,
I feel this friction.
Like, let's,
Yeah, I feel this friction a lot more with videographers and content creators. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the videographer is dictating and moving, and they need that line. And as wedding photographers, after we've taken our shots, we've done our thing, the videographer will jump in and be like, here, let me get some movement with them. Let me get this details.
Right. So they're having more of that conflict.
So is that content creator going to jump in like, oh, I also need that too, and then jump in, and then the videographer and content creator, are butting heads, and the photographer, and we're like, well, we got our shots, so
we're just drinking some martinis.
Yeah, you're just drinking martinis, so it's fine. You and the stylist, we're just having dirty martinis, so we're like, cool, guys.
You guys work that out. We'll be out over here when you're ready to do the next thing.
All right, guys, to close this up, I like to do fun rapid fire questions.
Cool.
I'm going to go back and forth, starting with Dennis. Just give me your first instinct, your first, whatever it's going to roll off your tongue.
I'm nervous.
I don't think we've had such a problem. So.
Oh, he's saying he's nervous on wedding days.
Oh, you're nervous on wedding days? No. All right. I'm going to start with Dennis. What is the biggest mistake couples make in terms of photography?
Biggest mistake they make. They look, once they get engaged, they look at too many wedding photos. And they see all the same things, all the same styles, because now with Photoshop and Lightroom, people are buying styles and looks from other photographers. So then that
can't believe anything.
That creates this homogeneity where so many things look the same, and you lose kind of your own personality and your personal style and your love of the city because you want the shot that was taken at exactly this location or at that location, and you forget that individuality. I think you should look at art. I think you should look at
which is what you said. So circling back,
I think you should look at great movies about love and see how they're photographed and how that progression happens, and use that as a guide to find photographers that really resonate with you.
I love that. I love that we brought it full circle to finding out your style and your certain love for art. So cool. Chris, what is the most underrated planning tip for couples in terms of photography? What do you need from them in terms of planning that you don't always get?
You'd really kind of be surprised, but it's so, especially on ones that don't necessarily have a planner, which is very rare, but sometimes they don't. It's just, you just don't get any kind of an understanding of how the day is going to go. And so you're trying to carve out your hour, 45 minutes or half hour that you really, really, really need to get your time with the bride by herself, and then get your time with the bride and groom together to make sure that you're getting, this is independent of all the post pictures or the group pictures that you have to take. But these are the ones that you're really, where I feel like you're making your money, because you're making them look beautiful and you're iconizing the dress and you're making these heirloom quality things, and you just don't know when that's going to happen sometimes. And no matter how hard you try to talk to them. Sometimes that just doesn't happen. I feel like when you have a good planner or you have a good conversation with your photographer and you're listening to them, they're going to be telling you, like, listen to them, because they're going to be telling you how you really need to do it. I mean, I've done it at least 1,000 times, if not more. So why wouldn't you take into my account? Because really what I want to do badly is make great pictures for you. So you got to give me the time to be able to do that.
Give you the time.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you need a timeline, and within the timeline, you need the shots that a photography timeline.
Yeah.
So you need the day timeline. So guys, get more organized, please. Right. I'm a very A-type personality. I have lists everywhere. So like to be so unorganized, I don't know. So get us timelines. We're coming close to the end, so I'm gonna skip a couple of the questions and I'm gonna ask you both. What have you seen is the biggest, like when you arrive on scene, what is the biggest morning panic? Like whether with the bride or the groom or the mom, like what has been your kind of number one where you're like, I see this all the time?
Tardiness. Everybody being late. Everybody's always late.
Yes.
Time.
Hands down, the biggest stressor is late. If I walk in and like the hair person hasn't arrived yet, or the person doing makeup is like, I know we're 45 minutes late. Don't worry, they won't start without you. She doesn't understand that there's a whole range of other things that are dependent on things that are going on.
And it's not just your vendor. Sometimes your maid of honor is like nowhere to be found, and you're just like
nowhere to be found. The caterer is sitting there, the officiant.
He was having martinis the night before.
The church has another wedding after your wedding. There's so many moving parts that you cannot be late. So when I walk into a location and I detect and I feel that people are late, that is my hands down biggest stressor. And then I go into a corner, I collect myself and say, okay, let's make this work.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what you have to do, right? You got to push all your own emotions.
Because the photographer does become the de facto general. So it's like, it's pretty crazy.
Well, you guys, I cannot thank you enough. This has been awesome. I know that a lot of our couples are going to take away so many awesome key tips. One, learn your personal photography likes, dislikes in terms of what you're looking for, creativity, art, and find your photographer through there. One of the top things you should, make sure that you pick right off the bat. What do we say? Communication, just create a relationship with your photographer. So at the end of the day, everybody
talk about that all the time. I think that's one of the most important things. You're together all day.
Communicate.
Yeah.
Give them a timeline and don't be late. Try very hard. Maybe give lots of cushion time. And tell that maid of honor that's usually late that she needs to start an hour earlier than you really need her there, right? I'm Greek, and
fire her and get a new one
all the time. So I've learned. I don't know if you guys have ever shot a Greek wedding, but no one's ever.
Oh yeah,
I have. But the good news about Greek, you usually have 3 times to get it right.
That's true. Everything in 3. All right. Well, thank you guys. Couples that are listening, please look at Chris and Dennis for you to be your next photographer, whether it's your wedding or you're documenting something else that's very special, because they're amazing and they clearly know what they're doing. So thank you guys so much. And I hope you'll join me again.
Thank you for having us. I really enjoyed being on here.
You're welcome. All right. Great. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Eleanor.